Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Todd Klindt's SharePoint podcast, lucky number 235. As you can tell, I am here, and I've brought my sidekick, Shane Young. Say something nice, Shane.
Hello.
And we're coming at you live. We're at SPTechCon in Austin, Texas this week, and we could be out partying, whooping it up, dancing on tables, throwing back shots, smacking each other on the butts. But instead, we're here doing this for these guys.
I like that picture you just painted. Why aren't we doing that?
we can do that later. We can do that afterwards.
So, and then more importantly, right, we're here in Austin, Texas. We have a studio audience.
Yes, we have a large. Whoop it up a little bit, studio audience. There we go. All right, that's enough. But before we get too far along, I do have to put out a plug for my employer and your employer, Rackspace, that lets us come to these kind of things, and they would like you all to go right now, drop whatever you're doing, and go to SharePoint.rackspace.com and click everything. A little birdie told me it's been updated. Have you seen the new version?
Yeah, I don't know how you feel about seafoam green.
It's one of my favorite greens.
Well, you know, it's...
And of all the colors of seafoam, green is my favorite.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Seafoam purple. It's got that Snorks color to it.
The Snorks.
Yeah, the new website is... What really I think was the key message there is that Randy and John made the website without any adult supervision.
Yes.
That's really the output of that.
That is true. But the thing that would be funny is you say that as if you would be an adult in that situation, and you would not be either.
But I would have said no seafoam green.
Yeah. So anyway, it's out there. It's got new stuff, and we've realized today that we forgot some stuff. So go out there today, and then go out there tomorrow and see the stuff that we forgot to add from today. So there's...
it's not important that you get the messaging right on your website.
There's a lot of things. We're phasing it out. We don't want to overwhelm anybody with all the coolness at once, little bits of coolness day after day.
Adult supervision.
Yep. I don't have my thing in the background, so nobody can tell what we're at in the podcast.
But look.
Yes.
You got that? That's...
We are, so they will know where we're at. Yep. We crashed one of the rooms, and we're sitting here. We moved some stuff around. That's the pedestal and all that. So we thought it'd make a good background.
Pedestal. You've been hanging out with your princess's daughters a little too much.
Probably so.
Podium.
Podium?
Podium.
In Iowa. You could call it either way. It's... we understand. So anyway, for the production notes, I honestly can't remember. I think everything went out okay. Lori, our executive producer, is here live with us, so she can confirm or deny that. So I think everything went fine. I got the MP3 file out early, got the RSS feed out early, which means not the morning of the next one is kind of the goal that I shoot for.
Whereas this one probably won't be out before the next one's filmed?
I'm thinking March would be a good time to release this one. March, yeah, so I'll try to get that done. I edit all that stuff on this box. So, I mean, I've got all the tools here, so I could conceivably do it. You and I have a busy day tomorrow, though, but we'll see.
Just a friendly reminder: Saturday's Valentine's Day, so don't be working on Saturday. That's pro tip right there.
I'll be planning for all the apologize I'll be doing on Sunday.
Yes.
That's yeah. So production notes are fine. Well, let's move on to the topics. We've got a few things. Well, that's a lie. We have almost nothing in here to talk about. We spent all of our time trying to figure out the power and the internet and the tables and the camera and got everything set up, and then realized we had nothing to talk about. But we'll take care of that. One thing I did want to mention, last week I talked about some developer topics that came up. Bob German published a blog post with kind of the new direction that SharePoint development is going to be taken, and I forgot that Bob no longer works for Microsoft. And Bob used to work for Microsoft.
Yep.
Back when I met him, he worked for Microsoft, and his blog is on MSDN, and I didn't read the top that said he works for Blue Metal Architects. So I wanted to correct that. A couple of viewers talked to me about that.
And it's interesting. So you've brought that blog post up about 7 times over the course of the day that I've been with you.
Yes.
So I feel like, you know, you read one blog post, and that's kind of your whole platform. Look, I know about developers.
That's all I have to talk about. I read one SharePoint blog post, and that's it. No, that was a good thing, and I thought, and that came up a lot today. So Shane and I were doing sessions here, and the session we did today was administrator skills.
Yep.
And one of the questions that came up, and I think it was in that session or maybe another one, was about features and upgrading and all that. And one of the things that Bob talks about in that blog post for developers is that Microsoft wants features to be used for fewer things. Like the old, the thing we used to do, if you wanted to have special lists and special the list templates and all that, you'd create a feature, you'd instantiate the feature, you turn the feature on, it would create the list and library, but there's all kinds of problems with that. You and I got to fix all kinds of broken things where somebody would shut the feature off, the list would get broken because the thing that defined the list was gone. When we do upgrades, that happens all the time, and we're going to be doing an upgrade session tomorrow. And so one of the things that Bob talks about in his blog is now they want people to do that with apps. So they want to create an app that goes out there. So if somebody wants a list or a library created that's special, load the app, run the app. And that was one of the things we talked about today in our thing, that the apps model is a real thing.
Yeah.
We might not like it. We might not want to embrace it, but that's where stuff's going.
Well, that's the third time I've heard this story today, so yes, I agree with you still. Now, it is interesting. You do a great job of referencing his blog, but the fabulous Wonder Laura is in here with us tonight, and she brought up a blog post that she had written, and you're like, yeah, I don't read your blog. So, would you like to come? You want to come join the... So I just like to point out that you read one blog post, and this is like your foundation of the week.
Well, I like Bob more than I like Laura. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Is it the mustache?
He's a handsome man. He's got a gentle touch. If you've met Bob, very, very nice man.
Yeah, well, he's currently snowed in Boston, right? Because he lives right there in the heart of the craziness. So.
Yeah, where they got 7 feet of snow today, I heard 7 feet just today.
That's a pounding.
On top of the 14 feet they had from last week. Yeah. It's been rough.
I'm very excited for Bob.
Yes. I can only imagine how busy his blog is going to be after my constant promoting of students.
And Bob probably has no idea your netcast exists.
He probably no idea. Remember meeting me, probably, yeah.
So now he knows that some guys are talking about him in a hotel room about taking a pounding. It's just very confusing. So
I feel bad for him.
All right, so anyway.
But I did want to mention that, and again, for IT pros, it's applicable also because that shows the direction the developers are going to be attacking our beloved servers in the future. So we need to be prepared for that. Have our defenses.
Well, I guess the other thing, since we're rehashing things I've heard you talk about all day, is hybrid came up 2 or 3 times. So I don't know if you've probably shared with these poor people several times your hybrid messages, but I thought it was kind of interesting. It seemed to be a hot topic among the people at the conference.
Yeah, and so what Shane's talking about, number one, I'm surprised that you listened to me enough to have heard me say the same thing more than once, but I was on a panel this morning about kind of the future of SharePoint. We called it SharePoint at the Crossroads, and that's kind of the big message is I think the next couple of years are going to be hybrid SharePoint. It's not, on-prem's not going away, everything's not moving to the cloud, but there are different pieces that are going to do that, and for every company and different points of time, different pieces of that make sense, and that's kind of the message I've been trying to get across is look and see what's out there, look what your options are, and then figure out which pieces are achievable now, because there's things that are easy to do, things that are not so easy to do, and that's kind of been the message I've been telling folks.
Yeah, well, and so I don't have a lot of SharePoint statistics around it, but I've been reading some of the Gartner research around private clouds, and I believe for those it's like 67% of CIOs plan to do hybrid private clouds, right? Because it just seems to be they're all embracing that you can't just jump off and move to full public cloud, even if that's where you want to end, right?
Right.
Customers are like, I want to end in public Azure. That's great, but you can't just lift and shift straight to it.
Nope.
So a lot of them seem to be standing up hybrid type of clouds, private clouds. So not exactly, but it's the same mentality.
Yeah, well, and that was so I did a talk at our local user group a month or so ago about hybrids and all that kind of stuff, and I laid out a few scenarios, and that was kind of one of those slides that we had there. One of the slides I didn't steal from Bill.
Oh, that's good.
It was all but it was a bunch of different reasons for hybrids, and one of them was that gradual move.
Yep.
Even if, like you said, even if your plan is when the end of the day is done to be 100% in SharePoint Online or whatever Azure, the fact that you can do hybrid and you can move bits and pieces gradually and let everything get figured out and then move another little piece is a great that will help a lot of people get to the cloud 100%. But even if you're not going to do that, hybrid's great for, like one of the things we talked about was OneDrive for Business. You can move your MySites into that, or you can use Yammer out in the cloud. So I think the hybrid story has changed so much in the past 9 months to a year. I think everybody needs to look at it again and just kind of see what makes sense.
Well, yeah, because when they first started promising us hybrid, it was kind of a pipe dream, right? It was this unicorns and pixie dust. Oh, you can do hybrid, woo! But there was nothing there in the product when they first started talking about it.
Right.
But now, as you point out with Service Pack 1, we added all those layers of integration, and it's an achievable one.
Yeah.
And really, so in our admin talk today, we talked to the attendees in there about, as IT pros, that's our thing, right? If you're an IT pro, you're like, oh my God, the cloud's going to cause me to be unemployed.
Yep.
Hybrid your story. I don't believe that either way, but if you're freaked out about that, hybrid your answer, right? Learning things like ADFS and how to federate both of the network layer and the identity layer, which is ADFS. But those are the type of real-world skills that kind of get you out, skills that get you out in front of the truck, if you will.
Yeah, I think, and that's something that I remember you and I having this conversation last year at TechEd with the guy from the UK, I forget his name, the tall guy, when we had dinner. But identity is going to be the thing. Shut up. Identity is going to be the thing that IT pros are going to need to know going forward, and having a firm grasp on ADFS and FIM and all that kind of stuff because of hybrid scenarios and because of all this stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, that's just, I think, solid advice, right? PowerShell and learn to do hybrid scenarios, and you've got an IT admin job for the next 20 years.
Yeah, you're not gonna. Now me, I haven't done much with identity. I'm gonna have to get my fry cooking skills back up to speed. You want them crisp, but not too crisp, because no, I'm just kidding.
Sprinkle a little extra sugar on them, and I think it makes.
Oh, is that what? That's what does it. But yeah, I think that's. Yeah, that's the big thing, identity, and then just figuring out, constantly evaluating the hybrid options, constantly evaluating how your company's using SharePoint, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. Is it pretty? We've had some great conversations here. We had a nice conversation at dinner tonight. Somebody from our class saw us at dinner, and then at the lightning talks, somebody else pulled me in. Just, people are curious, and they're starting to get. I felt like when Microsoft first started pushing the cloud hard, nobody cared. We were all terrified of it. We were, users were, everybody was terrified of it. But now that the hybrid stuff's starting, it's less scary. Now people are curious. Now they want to try it. Now people have a lot of questions. I don't feel like they did a while back.
It solves so many scenarios, and it helps us. Right? I mean, I just think we all understand that at some point, a whole bunch of our stuff's going to live in a public cloud somewhere, and so whatever we can do to ease that transition and make it a little more palatable is.
Yeah, and it's not and it's going to happen, and it's not necessarily a bad thing.
No,
that's the part that's been tough to move towards.
One of the guys that work for a cloud company, it's real easy for us to say it won't be a tough thing.
Yeah, and again,
Rackspace.
And the story, I've told it 100 times, and I'll probably tell it 100 more. My wife's company built a new office, no server room. Just that's the way things are going. Brand new company, no servers. Everything's in the cloud, and that's the way it's going to go. You and I, we're old. We've been doing this forever. We're dinosaurs, but that's where the cool kids are doing it. Well,
but at the same time, so I love that in that story of like how they have no data center, but they made so many other poor IT decisions I know about that I'm starting to question us using them as a reference point for that one.
Easy there. My wife might be listening.
Oh, she might be, but I mean, should we talk about the things that they bought in the early days?
Nope.
Probably not.
So yeah, the hybrid stuff's been good, and I think there's going to be more stuff coming from Rackspace on that, more stuff coming from Microsoft. Obviously, SharePoint 2016, when that comes out, hybrid's going to be its middle name, and we're going to find out about that here in a couple of months at Ignite. That's when they're going to kind of pull the curtain back and let us see all that. So I think a lot of people are going to have to rethink their SharePoint roadmap after that happens.
Well, and so I guess my first chance to go on the record as we talk about SharePoint 2016. My expectations is there'll be less features in that product. The SharePoint 2016 on-prem, there'll be less features in that product than there is in SharePoint 2013 on-prem. I think we're going to see such a pulling back, getting it back to a core set of things. There'll be more hybrid functionality, more connections to the public cloud, but the core bits that they ship, there will be less things that you can do with them from a user point of view.
I think it'll be like all of the versions of SharePoint where there's things that go away, which I can't think of any right now, but it always happens. A new version SharePoint comes out, and like, oh, I can't believe SharePoint 2010 doesn't have blah. 2007 had it, and I use it all the time. I think there'll be some of that, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I guess I think there would be the standard version of that, but I think the problem will be is that the answer will be is the new thing is
go online.
Yeah.
I heard someone asked us today about ability to have document libraries receive email, and that currently you can't do it in Office 365, and you can do it on premises, but that it's going to be removed in 2016.
I don't know if you guys could hear that or not, but they were talking about whether incoming email will work in Office or in SharePoint 2016. That is an interesting feature. So that particular feature first showed up in SharePoint 2007. And it showed up like at the 11th hour because we were on a TAP program and I saw the betas and things like that. And it showed up at the 11th hour, and it looks like they had a 7-year-old design it. I mean, it looks like somebody with crayon and like, okay, Jimmy, we've got some words over here and we got to get them over here. Figure out a way. And there's like canaries and wagons and it's just this horrible convoluted path that the email takes. And that's how it showed up 6 years ago, and it's never changed.
Yeah.
So they've made a few tweaks in SharePoint 2013, some error correcting things. So I've always kind of felt like their heart was never into that in the first place. But I feel like it's so they're getting ready to ship SharePoint 2007, and some project manager's going through his list. All right, does this? Oh crap! We need to have this way to get email in there. And so I feel like it was kind of added at the last minute. So I would hope that it doesn't get removed because yeah, I know a lot of customers that use it, but Office 365 doesn't have it. But I don't know if it's because they don't like it or their scale issues and.
Yeah, I bet it's fear, right? It's the fear of spamming it or something. Because you would think the tech could be solved, being able to read the host headers and emails, and you think all that could be solved. So it's got to be a fear of people doing bad things.
I think initially, yeah. The other thing is there's all this new Exchange integration, which I'm not completely familiar with, but things like with the groups, and there's something else, some kind of mailboxes or something that mimics some of that functionality. So maybe that's the way that they're going to go. But I don't know. So we'll find out here. They've told us that SharePoint 2016 will be out sometime before the end of this year. So we'll see if you're right or not.
Yeah.
We'll have to build a lunch or something on it.
There you go. When they keep promise, we'll see a whole bunch of Ignites, or a bunch of it at Ignites. I think that'll be really cool.
But it'll be beta, so they won't have that nailed down. They won't have a feature set nailed down.
Right. But I think we'll have some tangible. If we have something tangible at that point, I think it'll be very telling.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting stuff. That's for sure. Any other SharePoint stuff to talk about? Because we've got a whole bunch of non-SharePoint things to talk about. I want to make sure we.
The non-SharePoint stuff's way more interesting.
All right. Okay. So that's probably so we might bring something back. We'll see. One of the things I wanted to bring is this is the little my little infected.
Stay away.
So this is the HDMI device that I bought that came with a worm pre-installed, so I didn't have to go to all the trouble of clicking.
Going to those websites
that my mom warned me about, or clicking something in an email. And I've also, when Shane wasn't looking, I rubbed it on the keyboard of his tablet here, so he's actually infected already.
Oh, anyway. I saw.
So it's all done. But just a reminder, that's a full computer. That's got the same functionality as any of the little tablets that you see. It's got it's the whole thing.
Yep, it can ship your credit card straight to China without a problem.
Absolutely. Any password you type in here, it can get back to China. It promises. And one thing, and I can't remember if I've shown this in the netcast before, but this is the controller that I use with it. So it's got a mouse, it's got a gyroscopic mouse inside of it, and it's got a keyboard in it, and then you can also program it with your TV controls. So you can turn your TV on, turn the input, and then use that to control Windows, mouse, and keyboarding. But with this particular setup, there's one huge flaw: power button on the. So you can stick this thing behind your PC, or your TV, hook it up to your HDMI port, power it in the back, and never see the thing, but you got to reach back and hit the button, turn it on.
Well, wouldn't you just configure it so it just go to sleep, and so you just kind of wiggle the mouse and...
Somehow that doesn't seem to work. I haven't played with it a whole lot, but I've gone through and shut the screensaver off and all that kind of stuff, and I've set it to high performance as opposed to, the power stuff. Every morning I come to my office and it's shut off, and no amount of swearing at it seems to change any of that.
Well, you should write a note about that so the Chinese see it. So.
There we go. That's good. Good feedback. Yeah. But I have put Windows 10 on it, and as far as I know, it is not infected, and it's running fine with Windows 10, doing Windows 10 stuff, and also that's an interesting thing that I want to talk about. Saw an article yesterday, reading somebody else's blog, not Laura's, and they were talking. I think it was on maybe Windows Central, that right now today. You can go out, and I don't have the link, I'll find it and put it in the show notes here. There's a program that you can run on Windows 7 or Windows 8 today. You can run it, and the next time you run Windows Update, it'll put Windows 10 on your machine. Today, it'll put the preview on. I mean, it's obviously the preview build, but they're super serious about getting you the hell off of Windows 7 or Windows 8. I mean...
Which is interesting, right? I mean, shoving, I don't know. What do they got against it? It's not like it's Vista where it didn't work. We're all happy with 7 and 8, so...
Well, I think we are. I think they don't want people on 7 because it's old, and I think they don't want people on 8 because of all the bad publicity that 8 got. I use 8.1 and it's great. I hated 8. 8.1 is great.
8 was fine. 8 was good in my book. 8.1 is great. I have no complaints about it.
Yeah, I'm perfectly happy with it. But the interesting thing is they mentioned a month or so ago that if you have Windows 7 or Windows 8, when Windows 10 comes out, you have a year to upgrade for free. And they kind of slipped in at the end of that you can upgrade for free, and then they will keep your Windows 10 device updated for good. So I suspect there's going to be some obligatory patching that goes on because, Windows is always getting its nose bloodied because of viruses and things like that, and half those things can be prevented if your box is always up to date. But nobody does that because they want to reboot, all that. So I think they're going to get really pushy about these patches, and I think this is one of the ways that that's going to happen.
I think that's great. I think they should, force the patches on people. It's the desktop operating system. Quit clicking on, grandma's funky reindeer got ran over or whatever the heck it is that infects these machines. And
so my problem with that is kind of twofold. Number one, I hate in the morning hitting my laptop and stuff being gone because it rebooted in the middle of the night. So for patches that don't do reboots like the Defender updates and the little language thing it does, do those. That's fine. I have no problem with that. But if it's going to reboot my box, I hate that. I have stuff running at night. I have things going on. The other thing is patches break stuff. Just within the last 6 months, there have been several Windows 8 patches that have caused all kinds of problems, broken stuff. And I like having a little bit of control over that.
Yeah, but most of the time, right, you put those patches on, and they pretty much break it for everyone. And it's not, as a rule of thumb, I've never tested Windows laptop patches the same way that I did for server patches, right? I just put all the Windows updates on here, and if it breaks something, well, they're going to fix it because they broke, millions of computers at once.
To a point. So, and the other thing is, most of those Windows patches, if it doesn't just completely, foobar your machine, you can uninstall those.
Right.
But there was one that came out here in the last 6 months that if you downloaded a certain kind of font file or use a shortcut in your font cache, then it caused blue screens. Well, there's like 10 people on Earth that have done that, but those 10 people, their machines were kaput. So that's the kind of stuff that I worry about. But I think the obligatory patches thing is going to come. I think it's coming to Windows. I think it's going to come to SharePoint. It's going to come to Exchange. It's going to come to all those things. I think that's just going to happen. And I'm not sure how good of an idea I think that is.
Yeah, their track record of good patches is definitely less than stellar.
I have a whole website dedicated to keeping track of that.
Really? You have a blog?
I have a blog, yeah. Laura reads it, big fan. See her comments all the time.
Yeah, and speaking of that, you guys would have been really proud today. We did a whole session. Todd only mentioned his blog one time.
I think.
That was a world record. I'm not going to lie. I'm not stretching the truth. That was a world record.
And I don't know if you noticed, I got kind of fidgety. I was kind of sweating. Like I didn't feel right. And then I said, I'm like, oh, there we go. Go to my blog. Oh. See, I didn't even know you had a blog. Have you always had a blog? How long is that?
Well, I wasn't even going to point it out, but so we were kind of, behind on the slides. Todd and I don't usually finish decks. Just, we kind of end where we end. Oh, that was the last slide, yeah. Regardless of how much is left. It's a pro tip for those of you who have to do presentations out there. But he was hell-bent on getting to those end slides. I couldn't figure out why. He kept telling people we have more slides. I'm like,
shut up, Shane, quit talking. I got slides.
And then when we get to the last slide, it's at your blog. I was like, oh, I understand now. That was what he was afraid of. He wanted to get to those end slides because that's where his blog was, and the sweats were getting to him a little.
Oh, so. I was getting a little jittery, but I felt better. Got that.
One time. I'm so proud. You didn't even notice I took my blog off my vanity slide.
Well, you don't blog.
I don't. But it's been out there for 100 years.
Your last blog post was in like an 06 or something.
2007, installing Service Pack 2.
There we go.
It's been read like 250,000 times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How many times in the last 6 months?
I only write good blogs. I'm not like you people that write these crappy things and you're like, I blog every day.
Don't
no
talk
one cares
about her like
you.
she's sitting right here.
She's like, oh, my cat Fluffy today did this and this, or one of our other friends who always posted about, his gambling, right? I bet on this sports team. I'm like, how is this a valid SharePoint blog? It's not.
No. So again, back to the Windows 10 thing. I think this whole giving Windows 7 boxes the preview today is their way of getting that in place, because they've already said the preview builds will upgrade to RTM. So conceivably, you could install that today, have all the preview builds, and get RTM and get it for free when it comes out. So I think that's...
So why are more people pushing back on that, right? If you've done the thing with the Windows Phone, right? Not that one, but the previous one where you put 8.1 developer.
Oh, that one's got it.
Right, but it has a developer?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. So when mine went to the developer, right, I couldn't jump to 8.1 official when it launched, so I wanted the Cyan firmware updates. So I actually ended up having to use the Nokia Recover to nuke my phone back to 8 and put the official one on, because they never let 8.1 get the Cyan updates for my phone. So I mean, I worry that they're going to do the same thing with people getting 10 here. It'll update one day when you're older.
Yeah, well, and yours is a very good analogy because when the preview for developers first came out, they were very specific with you will be able to upgrade.
Absolutely.
You will be able to upgrade. And then when it came out, we were able to upgrade the OS, but we couldn't upgrade the firmware. So we're like, that's not. And then, so yeah, I had to do the same thing. And then I bricked one of mine. It was all a big mess. Because didn't I think I downloaded it and then put the same version back on or something.
Genius.
Third time's a charm for that whole exercise. But yeah, so I'm with that now. The laptop that I use for our demos is rocking Windows 7, and after we get done tomorrow, I'm done with our demos on that. And so I'm going to try this thing. I'm going to try upgrading to Windows 7 or Windows 10 and see what happens. I don't know if I'll keep it on there or I'll end up rebuilding it, but I'm curious how that process goes.
That poor laptop. That's the one that has stage fright. If you've ever seen us do a presentation, like, what the hell is wrong with those guys? That laptop only not works when it's plugged into a VGA adapter.
Or that laptop only not works when Shane's around. At home, me and that laptop, we do amazing, crazy things. As soon as this guy shows up, have you touched it poorly at some point? It's kind of like,
What I'm hearing is you want me to sleep in tomorrow. I just won't go to the 8:30 session. You rock that puppy by yourself.
Good Lord, if that was true, if I could do that, everybody would win.
Laura, we're going party tonight. I'm not.
She's got to write a blog post tonight. She can't. Yeah,
I'm drinking straight through that 8:30 session.
She's got this blog. I don't know if you've heard. Laura's got a blog, and yeah, she's got.
I heard it was down earlier today.
I don't know. This is the first I've heard of it. Does it have a URL? What is it? She's giving me the finger. How do you? I don't even know how to.
You can't make that joke. All right. Well, let's see if I can get my mouse to work. I'll try and find her blog.
All right. It's wonderlord.com. Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Todd, you ruined the surprise.
It's probably down though, isn't it? Because it was down earlier this week.
I blame y'all for the end.
It was me.
Not me.
I couldn't stand the competition. I went in and shut the server down. So the other thing I want to talk about that is not a SharePoint thing is I got another tablet.
How many tablets do you own?
All of them. I don't know.
All of them. That's the best answer you could have given.
But this one is only $60.
That doesn't make it any better.
It makes it right. Yeah.
Do you want your kids to go to college?
No. But they'll think of all the electronics they'll have to play with while they're young. They'll be. So this is the one I got this from Micro Center. It's a Winbook T something, and it's a 7-inch tablet, and it was $60. So this thing is $60. It comes with the Office 365 subscription, Home Personal, Office 365 Personal, which is also $60 or $75 or something like that. So again, it's almost like you're getting the tablet for free. This has the same innards as this thing, without the virus, as far as I could tell.
Thank you for clarifying.
As far as I could tell, no worms or viruses were harmed when I set this up. But it's a $60 Windows 8 tablet, and it's not bad. I hooked it up. It's got a couple of really cool features that the other tablets haven't had. It's got a full-size USB port on it. So
That's
all
nice.
the other ones have had the USB on the go thing. And so my wife is actually watching this, and she just Skyped me. She's like, "Oh my God, you do have a ton of tablets." So, sorry, honey. We can check me into something when I get home.
Jill, cut him off now. He should have been cut off about 12 tablets ago.
My credit cards are probably not going to work tomorrow. But it's got a full-size USB port on it, so it's easier to hook stuff up with all the other tablets, the Dell Venue 8 and all those. You've got the USB on the go, and you've got this crazy combination of cables and stuff. This one's got a full USB port on it. Works like a champ. The other thing that it has is it has a micro HDMI port on it. So you can hook it right up. I could have done a presentation this morning because it was all slides.
Right.
Including the one at the end of my blog on it, toddklindt.com. So it's...
Turn your phone off.
She's texting me.
Miss Jill, would you like to join the conversation here?
So for $60, I mean, the only thing really wrong with this is it's got a 7-inch screen as opposed to an 8-inch screen. But it does have the 16 gig C drive and the 1 gig of RAM. But for these kind of devices, that's not as big of a problem as it would be. But the USB port and the micro HDMI is awesome.
So why did you buy this?
Well, because I've been doing these. It's $60. Have you not been listening?
Yeah, your wife's listening, so answer these questions well.
I'm so in trouble. Don't leave.
Jill, if you have any questions you want me to ask him on air, just text me. 513.
She's going to call. I'm going to yell that again.
No, I mean, I'm honestly asking, what was the
So for part of it is because I've got a couple of blog posts on this, and I've done some unboxing videos, and there's just a lot of people out there that are curious about this kind of stuff, and they're kind of fun little devices. And I'll end up probably giving them away to viewers and stuff, because I mean they're $60-70 a piece. I had planned on doing that with that Toshiba Encore Mini. That was the first cheap one I bought that has the horrible screen on it. But then I think Laura's got one of those. But they both do. I wanted to upgrade it to Windows 10 just to kind of see what that experience is like. But it uses that Wim boot for the small drives, and that won't upgrade right now. So I've been trying to figure out a way to do that because those two won't upgrade theirs. So that's why I've got that one and haven't gotten rid of that one.
So did you make an unboxing video of that?
I did. I haven't published it yet, but I absolutely have it.
Well, so fun fact, I don't know how much you pay attention to those unboxing videos and stuff, but there's an 8-year-old right now that makes like $1.5 million a year playing with an unboxing toys.
I bet his wife doesn't yell at him when he buys them.
He's 8. He doesn't have a wife. His mommy and daddy say, "Oh, look here, you have $20 for your allowance, no problem."
Yeah, I suppose if I was. So that's one thing I've never done is turn on the ads on my YouTube site.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe I should. So Laura Rogers, she's got a blog, I heard,
and a YouTube site now.
A YouTube site apparently. She's growing up right in front of our eyes.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah. So I've thought about that because I've got a couple of these unboxing videos that are 3,000 views or whatever. So it's funny when I've never published it, but when I did the unboxing video for this thing, went back and watched it, and I'm like, well, this is really crazy. Task Manager won't come up. Huh. Well, this is really crazy. I can't get in the registry editor. Huh, I can't update this thing. I wonder. Oh, crap.
Professional admin right there.
Yeah.
No, but so, since you've opened up the door to this, right, I've actually been doing a lot of research lately. I keep trying to think of what, type of business I want to build out next.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of people that make 6 and 7 figures doing YouTube videos.
It won't be you. You won't be one of those people.
We'll see. But I mean, there's a lot of different ways they go at it, right? So they got the kid that does the unboxing, so he's making about $1 million.
You said he's 8, right?
Yes.
Because I've got a 7-year-old. She could pitch in more.
And she's kind of cute.
Yeah,
so,
she looks like her mom, so yeah.
Put a little pixel. No sucking up. It's too late. And Joe, before you joined, I did remind him that it's Valentine's Day on Saturday. So if he says he forgot, I told him ahead of time.
That's a lie.
So the YouTube videos, playing Minecraft and things like that.
So I've got a buddy whose kid, and his kid's a little older, like 10, plays a bunch of these games and watches. So what's that company that Google just bought that does the video game?
I know who you're talking about, but I will not remember the name.
Twitch or something?
Yes.
So his kid watches Twitch videos on YouTube of kids playing. So we all thought that like sitting at home playing video games was the epitome of lazy. No, the epitome of lazy is sitting home watching a video of somebody else playing a video game. That's...
Well, so you make fun of it, but so my 2.5-year-old and my 5-year-old both watch people play Minecraft.
Yeah.
And so there's several of those Minecraft guys. I mean, one of the videos I was kind of looking through one day has been viewed like 27 million times. This one video of a guy playing Minecraft for about an hour. And my kids watch that stuff.
Can't get enough.
So another big money maker on the YouTube is they're called surprise eggs. So they take like Play-Doh and they'll make like a Spider-Man, like a little Spider-Man Play-Doh creature, and then they'll rip it apart, and then the inside will be like a plastic Spider-Man toy. And just millions and millions and millions of views of these things. So it's a brave new world. It really has been something I've been trying to look at is, what are the different angles? 'Cause there's a lot of people making a lot of money on the YouTube.
I'd say I'm turning the ads on.
I don't know why you haven't already.
I don't know. I just, I don't know either. But I'm doing it. I'm serious. I'm going to do it. By the time you see this video, the ads will be on. I'm going to go upstairs, get yelled at by my wife for a while, and then I'm going to log into YouTube and turn my ads on.
Well, if you make $60 back in the first week, you can send that to me.
And then I don't have to sleep on the couch anymore. Yeah. And sleep out with, yeah, good.
Well, it's not going to help your case. So now that you've gotten through it all.
Keep digging me.
Yes.
Yep.
So you were articulating how it wasn't a big deal that you spent $60 on it, and your wife was upset about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said, I'm just going to give it away because it's just $60.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't think you were helping yourself.
Well, I was trying to show that I'm, about other people and generous and giving and all that.
Oh, I think she heard you say $60. Huh.
Yeah, that's nothing. But no, just when I I didn't get any Surfaces or anything right away, and I got those because they were cheap at TechEd. But part of it was just because I didn't know what they were capable of, what they were like, and so there's those kind of videos do help other people. So.
Oh, I think the unboxing videos are great.
And I'm all about other people. I'm a people person, so If I help just one person by buying this $60 tablet.
In case you're wondering, my feet are currently off the floor. It's getting a little deep.
If you like my unboxing videos, I want you to tweet at Shane's Cows and tell him how great they are.
And then I want you to also mock at Todd Klindt for not having an Amazon Associates ID on a link to that product, so when people see your unboxing video and want to buy it, that you're making the 4% off that.
I do have unboxing video. I do have an Amazon Associate link for those.
Well, so you got halfway to making money, but you didn't want to put the YouTube ads in there.
I don't know. I'll do it. You've talked me into it. But yeah, so I've got a blog post, and I don't have the URL right now in front of me, but it's comparing a bunch of these budget tablets.
Yep.
And so every one of those that I bought from Amazon does have the Amazon Associate link to it. So
interesting. Let's
But this I bought at Micro Center, so you can't use an Amazon Associate link to buy it at Micro Center, as far as I know.
So does Amazon not sell that?
I don't know, and if they do, it's probably not $60. So this was, again, $60. That's ridiculous. And for a long time, Micro Center sold this, but you had to pick it up. So for a guy like me that lives in Iowa, that meant no $60 tablet. But then they started shipping them, so I started buying them.
Future reference, there's a Micro Center about 15 minutes from my house, so if you ever need to go pick something up.
Absolutely.
But really the moral of this story is don't buy anything else from Micro Center. If you can't buy it from Amazon and get an Associate's ID, you've missed the whole point of this.
I'm far too altruistic to worry about that. But yeah, this is... Oh, and I'm supposed to remove that sticker and save it.
Ah.
So... Yeah, but there will be a video soon coming out on YouTube, and it'll be on this channel, the Todd Klindt Netcast.
Well, so then speaking of random purchases, so I actually bought some technology too, probably about a month ago.
Oh, I'm so gonna tell Nicola.
She told me to buy it.
Oh, son of a! See how that works? So what did you buy?
I bought a couple of range extenders.
I've been looking at those. Which one did you get?
So it was a Linksys RE4000W, I believe.
Okay.
So it was a 2-pack. Costco had them on sale for $50.
So is it like a sender and a receiver, or 2 receivers?
So 2 repeaters.
2 repeaters. Okay.
Yes. So that way my my wireless access point's in the center of my house.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got one at the top of the stairs and then one at the bottom of the stairs, kind of trying to spread the love.
So what I'm hearing is the first access point is near where I tried to kill myself at your house.
Yes.
And the second one is the floor above. Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
The third one's where you should have been. Because if you got in blood on that carpet, no one would have cared.
Nobody would have cared. Okay. So how do they work? How well?
So if you read the online reviews, they kind of say setting them up's kind of a pain in the butt. I agree. It was a little more work than it wanted. And interesting, so in my house I've got both channels running. I've got a G channel and an N channel.
Okay.
And so it can repeat both, but you have to configure each one separately, which makes sense. But the wizards in the setup only walk you through setting up one.
So you think you're done, and
yeah. Well, so then you have to go search the internet for how do I get into this device, right? So then it turns out the device gets its own IP address, and so then you can actually get into it.
Okay.
And then you configure the second channel.
Okay. So by channel, do you mean G and N, or do you mean 2.4 gig and 5 gig?
Sorry, you're right. I didn't mean channel. I meant the G and the
frequencies.
N. Yeah, 2 different frequencies.
Okay. So what is the performance like?
So it fixed the problem that I couldn't get bars in certain parts of the basement and in the upstairs. So that works. So like even my phone, I can not tether, but I connect to the Wi-Fi, surf the internet, and all that works pretty well.
Right.
But so then a couple weeks ago, I for the first time was up in my room, so I was connected through that. I was trying to do a link call or a Skype call. Yeah, that type of stuff does not work.
So what I've heard about those receivers, those repeaters like that, is you essentially lose half your bandwidth because it's using half of its bandwidth to talk to you and the other half to talk to the base station. So it cuts performance in half, is what I've heard.
And I would say it adds latency as well. It adds a good bit there. I mean, so if you really are looking at it just to make it so you can surf the web, you can look at YouTube. Well, YouTube. I haven't tried YouTube. I've tried YouTube.
Like the YouTube videos at youtube.com/ToddKlindtNetcast and click the ads. They're coming out.
I've created a monster. But so, surfing the web, Facebook, that type of stuff, it works really great. But really had a lot of problems with the others. So I'm actually probably going to go back to the drawing board. I'm probably going to try and find a way to get a second actual physical device in there.
So because I'd heard all that, and so what you've said doesn't surprise me much. The other thing that I've heard people using is power line adapters. Did you look into those?
I saw them. I did not do any research.
All right, so the power line adapters, you have one place that injects network, not wireless, but network. So you've got something that's got an Ethernet jack and plugged into the wall, and it uses the house wiring to distribute network. And then on other places in your house, you would have things that plug into the plug-ins, and then our wireless access points. So they use the house wiring as opposed to the second channel to distribute stuff. So I kind of thought about doing that because then you don't lose the half bandwidth.
Yeah, you should give that a try, see if it works out better than what I did.
So I set like one of the original. There used to be two competing power line standards. P&A was one, and maybe power line was the other one. And I set one of those up for a buddy of mine like 15 years ago, and it was trash. It was horrible. Pooped out all the time. The speed was terrible. But just in the last couple of months, I've talked to some other people that have them, and they seem to not be so bad. So I might give that another shot. If I'm ever allowed to buy anything with an on-off switch again, jury's kind of out on that. My birthday's gone, so it's past.
Tell you want a tablet for Valentine's Day. She'll understand.
So I thought about that. Now with that one, that kind of gets complicated because in America, at least, our houses have two phases of electricity. So you have to worry about the whole. If you plug the injector in on one leg and plug the repeater in on another leg, you have to have some way to bridge the 240. So there's some complicated stuff there. But I think I'm up for that. I've got a clothes hanger, one of those wire ones. I can make it all work.
I hate electricity.
So I've thought about doing that. But the problem is my house isn't as big as yours. So where I've got my access point, I can mostly get everywhere. Where it kills me, and this is such a ridiculous thing to complain about, but when I'm mowing the lawn or snow blowing or something, out doing yard work, because I'm quite a handyman, I'll stream music or podcast or whatever, and I am just at that level where my phone will be on the wireless, and then I'll take a couple of steps, and it won't quite see the wireless, so stuff will hiccup and all that, and so then I have to remember to shut the wireless off so I stream over the phone. So I would want them closer to the edges of my house so that I could get to it outside.
Oh, I can't even get close to outside, even with the repeaters. It's
yeah.
sad.
So that's one thing, but I'll be I'll look into those things and see which ones, and we'll compare notes, because that's definitely something I've been thinking about.
And we ran, so when I first moved in, I ran Cat5 everywhere. So
you could just put another wireless access point. So I've thought about that too. And then you got to worry about the WDS stuff. So if you do that, you've kind of got two options. You can set up two separate wireless access points that may or may not have the same name and may or may not have the same code, and then things just kind of switch back and forth. Or if you've got a smart enough access point, you can set the WDS stuff up where they know that the other one's there. They kind of hand things off, automatically. And I don't know if that matters much anymore.
Yeah, well, I started looking into that, right? Because that was where I originally thought I was going to have to do, was set up the two routers and figure out how to solve those equations. And then I found the repeaters for $50. I'm like, well, this is just
Costco.
$50.
Yeah,
Who cares?
Yeah.
So I just spent $50 on that. No big deal.
Yeah. Yep. So I'll be curious, because I would like to move my stuff around too and get better coverage. Yeah, so
I bet another technology purchase, but the clock kind of looks like we're running out of time.
Oh, so we can make it quick. Anything that keeps me from being done and getting yelled at by my wife.
But I'm looking forward to that part. She already promised that I get to hear her yell at you.
Put it on speakerphone, and we'll
So I also bought I tried to buy an HP monochrome printer. Bought that, blew up in my face, didn't work, shipped that right back. Ended up for about half the price buying a Brother laser jet.
That's absolutely what I have.
Yeah.
I have a Brother.
It's the same thing. It's only black and white, but it is laser.
Yep.
It's stellar.
Yeah, I bought one of those 6 months ago, something like that. Yeah, love it.
Was that Jonathan Mass convince you too?
I don't remember if it was him or not, but I've got a bunch of friends that have them.
He's a poster child. His goal in life is to get everyone to buy a Brother printer. I'm like, what's in this for you, dude?
That's a pretty pathetic goal in life.
Have you met Jonathan?
Yeah, and he probably might be shooting a little high for that. My goal to buy every tablet ever made is way cooler than.
And you're currently.
I'm really close. I am really close. Any day now, I could get that last one. Yeah, and it was so I bought mine at Amazon. So that's another funny thing. So I bought my printer at Amazon, and it was like $200 or something. And you know how Amazon, after you buy, like I buy my coffee there and stuff, you go back to like, hey, would you like to purchase this again? So like 2 months later, would you like to purchase this printer again? I'm like, no, one's probably enough. And so now every once in a while that printer shows back up. I'm like, I'm good. I'm good with one.
Yeah, with Amazon, I keep having to learn my lesson over and over again about not buying things that come straight from Amazon. So when I bought that HP printer, it was shipped through this third party or whatever.
Yep.
Giant pain in my tuchus.
Yep.
When I bought those USB sticks, Not from Amazon.
No.
Thrown in
Well,
trash.
in those USB sticks defense, had you bought them directly from Amazon, they still would have come from China and probably still came infected.
Well, they all come from China, and I have no
Exactly.
problems, but it's just, right, it's that idea of, oh, whatever, I'm going to be quiet.
Yeah. So my wife is continuing to mock me over Skype, and she's brought up an interesting thing that one of the ways when I first started doing this that I tried to sneak this in is I was buying her tablets. I'm like, hey, honey, look what I got you. It's a tablet. And she's like, a what? A what? What am I going to do with this? Like, no, it's cool. It's a tablet. And I've been playing with it. I got it all set up for you. You're going to love it. And then next, got another tablet. She's,
You know, I feel like I should help Joe here as well. So I'm just going to ask you, how's that burner credit card working out for you? I will leave that right there.
Yeah. So that was we signed in today for SPTechCon, and they must not be serving lunch here today or something. So they gave us disposable credit cards so we could go out and buy lunch someplace else. And in Shane and I's effort to embarrass every person we ever talked to, I'm like, I never use these for lunch. I always use these to hide purchases for my wife on the internet. Works like a champ. So thanks.
Joe, he said those exact words in public today.
Yeah, and the woman who we've been talking to for 8 years, she's like, oh yeah, she completely believed it. She's like, oh yeah. So, but I can't believe I'm the only guy that does that.
Burner credit cards, burner tablets, burner cell phones. Are you selling drugs?
I can't answer that question. All right, so it is getting a little late. Did we have anything else we wanted to talk about?
It's past my bedtime.
It is past your bedtime. You got whiny a long time ago. Any other topics that we were going to talk about that we didn't? Oh yeah, we kind of. So I had SharePoint 2016, but we kind of talked about that, the Ignite stuff, and all that.
Wrap this puppy up.
All right. Well, so the last bit we have talked about production notes or promotion. Sorry.
Who's Loopy?
So, yeah, I'm several minutes away from getting yelled at. It's like when I was a kid.
You're blowing him up. I can see it right here.
Yeah. When I was a kid, when I would do something wrong, my dad would very rarely give me the spanking at the moment. He would tell me later, before you go to bed tonight, you're going to get a spanking. So I got to think about it all day long. That's where we're similar.
Have you ever told my favorite spanking story on here?
Wait, is that the one where the don't?
Don't beat me like you, Daddy.
Yeah. So
I love this story.
Yeah. So I was, as you can imagine, I was a perfect child. Caused my parents no problems at all. But I remember, and I remember 10-ish or something, we were out of town shopping, and I was at the mall, and I was being a jerk and doing all the stuff that kids aren't supposed to do, and my dad's getting mad at me like he deserved to get mad at me. And I remember thinking he's going to get mad at me, so we're out in public and I'm like, don't beat me like you do at home, Dad. And sure enough, he did not exact any sort of punishment. At the time, I was, as a child, you very much live in the moment. You don't think about the car ride home or anything like that. I wasn't thinking far enough down the road, literally or figuratively. But I did diffuse that initial situation.
You did not get beaten in the mall.
I did not get hit in public, no. I did that once. Once. Yeah.
I wish I could have been there for things like that. I'm always like, shut up in the show.
Yeah. All right, folks. Well, thanks for putting up with us and all of our strange stuff. I'll be back home next week for 236 and all that. Oh, yeah. So she's like, no, don't wrap it up.
Do the shameless promotions.
So normally I would promote SPTechCon, but we're here. We got sessions tomorrow.
Hey, still, good job for SPTechCon, folks.
Yeah, they've great folks. Shane took over one of their events tonight. So they always do the lightning talks, and the guy that runs this thing, David Rubenstein, always MCs it, and Shane just decided he'd do a better job and went up there and took the mic.
They didn't fight. They didn't put up a fight.
Took the hell over. Yeah, it was, and I'm a little mad I didn't think of that first. That's, but so this conference will be done, and don't have anything in March, but in April is the SharePoint Evolution Conference in London. So Lori will be there. Who are you again? Are you going to be there? You should. Do you have a blog? You should blog that. If you have a blog, you should do that. Laura Rod.
Yeah. So after Jill kicks your ass, Laura's gonna kick your ass.
It's gonna be a line.
Did you want to come talk about Power Hour?
All right, come on up.
Oh, mine, of course.
Guys.
Hi, everybody. I'm Wonder Laura. I know. I see. Thank you.
Look at the light.
Hi.
I'll make you famous. I'll make you a star.
My husband's watching too, by the way.
Hey, Chris, how's it going?
So some of my coworkers, not Todd, have something called SharePoint Power Hour that we do every Wednesday at 11 Central on YouTube, and we stream live. It's on our SharePoint RAX YouTube channel, and we use the Google Hangout just like this one. And all you have to do is show up, and we just talk about non-dev and non-admin topics every week.
Yeah, and actually, I have to give some props to Laura. She's been doing the Power Hour thing in Google Hangouts and on YouTube for quite a while. And
we have 70 episodes.
70 episodes, and that's kind of where I got the. I bounced a bunch of ideas off her when I moved this to the Hangouts. So I was doing Ustream, they did it theirs in YouTube, and that's kind of why I'm here, because I let them prove it out first.
She messed up my chair.
Yeah,
Kind of comfortable now.
Girls.
Oh.
But yeah, so I'm going to be at the SharePoint Evolution conference in April doing the upgrade section that we're doing tomorrow. I'm going to do a better job of it without you there in London. So if you want to sign up for that, SharePointEvolutionConference.com.
So
I will be there.
challenge has been put out. You have to take over emceeing an event while you're at the conference.
So this is the first time I've ever done that one, and
So?
I don't want to not get invited back. This one, I can take it or leave it. I've done this one a bunch of times.
You're not going to get invited back either way. Might as well have an excuse.
It's true. Plus, Steve Smith's a great guy. I don't want to, he'll
Steve
do
is a good guy.
So we got that going, and so that's the only thing I got to promote. Oh, and Laura's blog, wonderlaura.com. It's got stuff and things on it. All right, well, that's everything. So thanks for showing up, and I'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.